Grew up with a family, my two beautiful parents, Marianne and Peter, my 27-year-old brother Dino, who used to pick on me, of course, all the time. So, went to grade school right down the street at Central Public School. Did my JK to grade 8 there, and then moved on over down to Vincent Massey, where I did my high school years there. Grade 11 came around. Counselor said, time to sit down and let's kind of pick a career map for you. And I said, at the time I was really involved in my hockey and stuff. I said, what am I going to do? There wasn't really one thing I could pick. So he said, well, why don't you go home and think about it and come home tomorrow and, we'll figure it out. So I went home and I was talking to my brother that night. And, I was flipping through St. Clair programs, university programs, trying to figure out what I wanted to do. My brother goes, why don't you just take computer networking? I said, is there any specific reason, or did that look the most appealing for you? He goes, you'll always have a job. There's job security. St. Clair's got a great program. Cisco, go for it. Next day I went into school. I said, Mr. Johnson, I got it for you. Computer networking. He goes, you've never taken a computer science class. I go, sign me up. Grade 12 came around. My grandfather sat me down and said, I understand, you kind of went into this. I don't know if it's really what you want to do. He goes, you can do whatever you want, just be empowered to learn, and, you'll get to wherever you want to be. So I just kind of took that and ran with it. Applied at St. Clair for computer networking, got accepted. One of the happiest days of my life, obviously. And when I was trying to figure out if I wanted to go to St. Clair versus university, I really talked to some past graduates, and I'm more of a hands-on learner kind of guy. So, I decided to come to St. Clair because the lab, everything is great. So started here in the summer, it was September of 2005. Took computer networking, started here, kind of a rough first semester, obviously, coming out of high school. But went home the summer of my first year, bought some books, got some audio documentation, stuff like that. Started kind of learning on my own. Came back in 2006. First semester went a lot better. Then I kind of never looked back from there. Always used to ask the teachers for help, like John Sanderson, Terry Dame, they've all been great. Still keep in touch with them as well too for any assistance I might need. And throughout the program, I just kind of kept learning what I needed to learn to be successful in my career. Graduating year, I was awarded the Student Leadership Award, which was a big honor. So the faculty voted, can't thank them enough. That's actually one of the most prized possessions I hold to this day. My uncle, who was the senior director of information technology at the time with Greektown Casino in Detroit, calls me and says, how you doing? I go, good. He goes, my friend over at Motor City is looking for a network admin. I said, okay. He goes, go on their website, apply, and I'll put in a good word for you. So, me thinking coming out of college, there was probably hundreds of people at the time applying for it. I get a call the next day from my manager, Ralph Bolin, and he goes, hi Billy, how you doing? We'd like to set up an interview with you, come in, talk to you a bit, get to know you a little bit. So I went in, walked in, he took me for a tour, and to say I was astonished would be an understatement. The amount of technology they had on the property was just unbelievable. So I ended up getting hired, ended up getting the job after numerous interviews, and can't thank my uncle enough for that. And I've been working there ever since 2008. Started kind of towards the bottom, more help desk kind of related stuff, and I guess once I really showed them what I could do, they moved me up slowly but surely. And now I actually support the whole network with a team of 4 guys. We're the highest level of support. Last year I was just your typical day at work, was doing some documentation, and I got a call from my boss saying, could you come into my office for a second? First, obviously, somebody panics when your boss calls you in. I walked in, closed the door, sat down. He goes, I just wanted to congratulate you. You won Simply the Best, which is actually an honor for a few employees out of 3,000 for going above and beyond their customer service and leadership. So I went to the directors meeting that Friday, got a nice little check, had lunch with the directors, and then they invited you to the year-end banquet. So usually there's about 200 to 300 people that win this yearly, and then they pick 4 people for the most willing and most deserving employees of the year. So I was sitting there with my parents, I remember, in our theater, and I heard my name for one of the Employee of the Years. And still to this day I can't believe it. But you know, out of 3,000 plus employees, I was voted for Employee of the Year, so that's a huge honor. And to this day, I can't thank my instructors enough, my fellow students. Everybody was great. You know, the things that really stick out to me were no matter how big the class was, there was so much detail put on each and every student. It made everybody feel just like they were at home. You know, the equipment's second to none. They're always up to date. Everything's great. The lab material is amazing. And I just can't thank St. Clair enough, because without them I wouldn't be where I was, and every time I look back I'll always be a saint no matter where I am. So whether you're a high school graduate or you're, you know, regardless of your age and you're looking to further your education, I think St. Clair is your only choice.